My name is Laura Alaman, and today I will be discussing some of my favorite books that I have chosen for my midterm literature investigation, and the topic is Native American assimilation. So one book that really stuck out to me was called Redbird Sings, the story of Zitkala Saw, Native American author, musician, and activist. So the reason that this called my attention was because a lot of the ways that we are shown Native Americans is with a certain look, kind of stereotypes them that they are warriors and such as that, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. I just think that there's more to it, and this book really showed that. It's a story of a girl who begs her mother to attend school with the Quaker missionaries, and they're the ones who educate them, her and a couple of other Native American girls. And through that, she gains a great education and attends actually higher education. She becomes a musician, she becomes an orator, and she wins many prizes because of how well she speaks. And eventually she turns into a speaker for her people and discusses their problems and the way they're treated, and just demands respect from her peers and other people, because she sees that it's necessary. So in that way, her being an orator kind of turned her into an activist as well. So I thought that was a really incredible book. It shows students more than just what we always see from this group, and I think it's amazing. Next is The Ledger Book of Thomas Blue Eagle. The reason that this book stuck out to me is because of the illustrations. And the reason why is because they're shown as a ledger book, which I did some research on, and apparently it is a ledger book. Kind of shows and records trades between old traders and Native Americans and such as that. And so that was what inspired the illustrations, as well as the way the book is. The font is like handwriting. So it's sort of like a diary, and it's from the point of view of a Native American boy. So he tells about his life, how he uses how he grows up, how his people use the environment around them, which goes along with some of the teaks that are involved for this 4th grade social studies. And I just think it's really interesting. It allows for a lot of insight for your students, and it ties in really well with sort of showing the way of life, demonstrating the culture to the students, which is a part of a teak, and then shows how European colonization kind of affects that, and how they go through battles to try to defend their way of life. And I just think it's a really good example of all of that, which goes a lot with the teaks. The next book that I will be talking about that really stuck out to me is The Buffalo Nickel, which is about James Fraser, who is a young boy who at one point moved to a state where there was a lot of Sioux Native Americans. So he grew to really know their culture, and he learned about reservations and how those Native Americans were only allowed to come to where he was to hunt, and then they would have to return. And he, through all of that, realized what was actually going on, and he grew to really appreciate their culture and such as that. And so he went on to become a sculptor, and so he went to school for that. And then he decided to commemorate the Sioux by actually putting up his artwork for the Buffalo Nickel face, which runs for 25 years, and he actually did so. And it was really amazing to read about that. I really liked the book because it showed the process step by step of how that was made and how that was imprinted on a coin, and then how the whole coin face thing works. And it was really amazing, and it goes along with the teaks of showing the way of life of another group. So that's like a culture teak, and I just really enjoyed this book, and I thought it was really cool. And you could probably incorporate it with fine arts because of the sculpting, because it also takes you the step by step of how he would sculpt and such as that, and I really like that. And my last one that I'm going to talk about is in Songs from the Loom, a Navajo girl learns to weave. And I really enjoyed this one because it tied in modern day Native American nations and their way of life back then. And it was just so amazing and refreshing to learn about that, because a lot of the times we only learn about their old way of life, which is amazing, but we fail to realize that they are still here. They are still an important group that is involved in today's history. And it really bridges those two in the fact that this young girl, Jacqueline, she's the granddaughter of a modern day Navajo chapter leader, and she's learning to weave, and she ties the traditions to what is in weaving to back then. And I just think that ties in really well with another cultural teak. And the pictures in there are authentic. It is her and her grandmother learning to weave, the process of it. And there's a lot of graphics which show, like, for example, there's a map on there and it shows the different weaving techniques of different Navajo nations found in the United States. So it'll have the map, and then this type of weaving style will be found in this area of Navajo. And it's just so amazing. It was so rich in information and stuff. And so those were some books that really stuck out to me the most out of the ones that I had to research about. And yes, thank you very much for listening, and I really enjoyed this project.